Hey, what's happening, guys? What is going on YouTube? You guys have tuned in to Rules for Rebels. We got another one of these rundown videos for you guys today. I apologize. It's been a couple weeks since I've seen you guys or talked to you guys. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what we're going to be talking about here today. Then we'll be doing a little bit of housekeeping. I'll tell you guys kind of why I was away and kind of how active I plan to be kind of throughout the rest of the summer. And we got a bunch of interesting stories and things like that to talk about. So there is currently a Reddit blackout controversy going on right now. A lot of subreddits have gone dark. We're going to be talking a little bit about real estate and the real estate market. I got kind of my own little kind of crazy real estate market story. I also think I've found the secret to getting yourself a reasonable deal on a home. And I think that's buying ugly homes or buying homes that haven't been updated. I have a little bit of a personal anecdote. I saw a house that recently they flipped it within a couple months, bought the house for $230, just recently listed it for $484 near me. They didn't really do anything that fantastic, but it does look updated and nice. And they're getting $484,000 for this house. Not even a big house, 1,000 square feet, decent area, but not a great area. And down the street, there's literally homes on almost a half acre going for $246,000 that are in decent livable condition, just don't have the barn doors or the gray floors or the gray walls. And you're going to get a discount of literally hundreds of thousands of dollars because a house doesn't look like it came off of HGTV. I saw Home Depot's rolling out tiny homes. They got a kind of a modern looking tiny home they're selling for $46,000. We'll be talking a little bit about that. We're going to be talking about the commercial real estate program. Commercial real estate problem. We're going to be talking about Target, Bud Light, ESG scores, and a lot of this stuff going on. We're going to be talking about a recent study out of the UK that found that Adderall and Ritalin don't actually improve performance. We're going to be covering the 5 happiest jobs, the jobs whose people doing those jobs are the most content. The premium you're going to pay to buy a home over renting right now. Dallas and other cities are cracking down on short-term rentals. Dallas recently banned short-term rentals in residential areas. And Rivian has been delisted from the NASDAQ 100. One other story we're going to talk about, we finally got some news about what's going on with the Voyager situation. Looks like around the 15th of this month, which actually it's today, shit. So I guess potentially as soon as today, you'll be able to see how much you're going to be able to withdraw from your Voyager account. And then I believe it's going to be sometime around June 20th that you'll actually, if you choose to, will be able to start withdrawing funds from your Voyager account if you were a Voyager customer. So without further ado, let's kind of get into all of this. So before we get started, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Temu. Temu is an online shopping platform. It's like an AliExpress.com or a Wish.com. I've been buying a ton of stuff off of Temu lately. I got kind of a cool, funny sign in my bathroom that says, please don't do coke in the bathroom. I just recently had a big barbecue at my house. I had a bunch of friends and colleagues and stuff like that over. In the past couple weeks, I was spending a lot of time kind of getting my yard ready. Had 12 or 15 yards of mulch I had to spread. Tore out some sod, put in some sod in other areas, put in a rock garden. So I've been busy doing a lot of that stuff. But a lot of these solar lights and things like that I've been getting off of Temu. I heard a rumor recently that Temu is losing $30 to $40 on each order. They're making a big push to kind of become a household name. So right now at the beginning, it's a great time to shop there. Almost everything on the site is free shipping. They have a lot of great and unique items. Pretty much every category, it's a fraction of the price of Amazon. And they're even more competitive than sites like Wish.com, DHgate, and AliExpress. Because again, they're a new platform. People don't know them quite yet. So it's a great time to shop on Temu. They also have a great affiliate program. They pay 20% commissions. You get a 30% coupon code to give to your customers or your audience. And also you get $5 per app download that people do on top of the 20% commissions you're getting. So whether you're an affiliate, a reseller, or are just looking for some good deals, check out Temu. Link will be in the description box below. Again, guys, I apologize. I haven't seen you guys in a number of weeks. I was doing the daily rundowns. That got to be a little bit too much. I said I was going to go to a 3-time per week schedule. And you know what I was finding? There's some days that are like overloaded with news. There's more than I can possibly cover in like 20 or 30 minutes. And then there's other days when there's not really anything interesting going on and I'm kind of stretching for a story. But also, the summer here in the Midwest is so short. My girlfriend works a lot. So whenever I do have free time, I try to spend some of that free time with her. And I got a lot going on myself. I'm in a kickball league. I'm in a two sand volleyball leagues. I play pickleball in the summer. And it's on top of, family barbecues and parties and everything else. And then for the past couple weeks, I've been having to help a couple of my clients, as well as a buddy of mine, transition from Shopify stores over to big commerce stores. Migrations are always a big headache, so I've been pretty busy with that. So I apologize that I've been away. I'll try to be a little bit more active. May not be coming to you guys 3 times per week, but I will try to be a little bit more active going forward here. Because this is a rundown, let's talk about kind of how the markets closed down yesterday. So yesterday, we heard that the Fed paused rate hikes. Now, this isn't great news. This doesn't mean they're pivoting. This doesn't mean that rates are going to start coming down. And Jay Powell even said that. I think they said they expect rates to stay high up until 2025, or potentially even through 2025. And the markets forever had been anticipating, a pause on these rate hikes. Well, they finally got it, and the market wasn't that excited. The Dow finished down 0.68% yesterday. NASDAQ finished up 0.2%, and the S&P 500 finished up 0.08%. But this was kind of baked into the market. I mean, for literally the last year, everybody thought the Fed was going to pivot. We've been saying all along that they're not going to pivot. There's normally a 6 months to a 12-year kind of gap between when they start hiking rates to when you start seeing the effects. So we haven't even really felt the effects of these rate hikes. And really, are these rate hikes going to tame inflation? I don't even know what the Fed and the government are telling us inflation is at right now. But we all know that inflation is 2, 3, 4 times whatever the Fed is telling us. And you can't possibly tame inflation when you're not even raising rates to the level of inflation, true inflation, let alone the fake number that the Fed tells us. We got crypto is down big on the 7-day and even the 24-hour. We currently got Bitcoin sitting at 24,900, broke below that 25,000 mark. Ethereum had been holding strong above 1,800, but Ethereum sitting at 1,637. And BNB had been really holding strong above 300. We got BNB down to $233. There's an ongoing war, the government and the banks against crypto. Regulators are against crypto. Banks are against crypto. And recently, Binance had told everybody, get all your fiat off of Binance. We're no longer going to be a fiat exchange. We're going to be crypto only. They're coming under so much fire from government and regulators that they don't even want to deal with the traditional banking system. Now, what I would love to see happen is to see Binance just scrap Binance US, because Binance US was never as good as Binance.com, and just go back to being Binance.com. Binance opened up, back in 2017. Back then, it was an awesome exchange. U.S. customers, U.S. citizens could be on there back then, or at the very least, even if we couldn't, it wasn't really enforced. You could log in from a U.S. IP address. They had all the new coins. They were getting all the new coins the quickest. They had more coins than any other exchange. And it was when Binance wanted to start dealing in fiat and kind of becoming a little bit more legitimate that they started kicking U.S. users off of Binance.com and encouraging people to sign up over at Binance.us. If Binance is going to war with regulators, there's really no reason to have a Binance.us. You might as well shut down Binance.us, stop enforcing crackdowns against U.S. users on Binance.com, and go back to the Wild West days of letting everybody trade on Binance.com, because you're clearly not going to work with the regulators, and I don't mean to say as if Binance is doing a bad thing or Binance isn't trying. I think U.S. regulators don't want to work with the crypto community as a whole. Look at even Coinbase, who's always kind of done things by the books, isn't getting very far into suing the SEC. So Binance may as well take things back to the Wild West days. And really quickly, before we move on from crypto, I just wanted to talk about the Voyager situation. So Voyager money has been tied up for a long time. Obviously, FTX tried to buy or quote-unquote rescue Voyager. Turns out the only reason they wanted to rescue Voyager is because it was a way to get their loans to Voyager forgiven. That wound up falling through. Then Binance was going to buy Voyager. They wound up backing out at the last minute. And so now the funds are just going to be distributed. I believe we're expecting that, Voyager customers are going to get about 40% of what we had on the exchange initially. This has been dragging on forever, but they just recently sent out an email today. They said the 15th, which I didn't realize today's the 15th, but today's the 15th. They said as of the 15th, or as soon as the 15th, you potentially will be able to see all your coins or what coins they're are left or what your payout's going to be. Potentially as soon as today, you can see that on Voyager. I believe I checked my app earlier today. I don't think anything showed up. Actually, let me see if I can check now. It may not let me because I'm screen recording. We need a moment. Voyager is temporarily in maintenance mode while we perform symptoms. Okay, so nothing yet, but Voyager potentially may show you today, how many coins you have on the platform or what you're going to get paid out. And I believe they're anticipating that as soon as June 20th, you'll be able to start withdrawing coins. You'll have 30 days to withdraw coins while the exchange is open back up. And apparently, if you don't withdraw your coins within 30 days, you'll just be cut a check for the difference. So you can decide whether you want to keep the crypto or just get a USD payout. But that's kind of what's going on with that situation. Let's talk a little bit about the Reddit blackout controversy. I don't get into kind of all the Reddit drama and stuff like that. So I guess what's happening is Reddit is going to start charging people to use their API. Now, I guess there's some version of Reddit called Apollo or Apollon that has like 1.3 million users a month. A lot of people say it's a better experience than the actual Reddit app. And at least from kind of the narrative being told, with these new costs that Reddit wants to start charging, it would cost them like a couple $1 million a month for all the API calls that they need. So, a lot of these self-important Reddit moderators have decided that they're going to shut down the subreddits. Now, here's kind of my take on the whole thing. Your average Redditor doesn't fucking care about the drama between, Reddit the corporation, Reddit the CEO, and moderators and developers. Most people, I think, use the actual Reddit app, although some of these other apps actually do have a decent-sized user base. But they basically said, we're going to shut down a lot of these subreddits for 48 hours as kind of a show of protest. Now, there was a leaked memo from the CEO of Reddit saying, we're not worried about this. They're all going to come back after 48 hours. Who cares? Pay it no mind. Some subreddits are still down beyond the 48 hours. A lot have come back online. What's funny to me is a lot of the people complaining about this are actually on Reddit complaining about how they're going to leave Reddit or how they hate Reddit, yet they're still spending their time on Reddit. If you guys have any more insight into that whole situation or can explain that better, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section below. But I just kind of wanted to bring that story to your attention. And with a lot of these stories that I share with you guys, in kind of the quick format that we do these videos, I don't really have time to go super in depth into a lot of these stories. So more than anything, I just kind of want to bring these stories to your attention. And if one of these strikes a chord with you, it's something that you can go research further on your own. Let's talk a little bit about student loans. I actually made a video about the student loan payments resuming the other day. I didn't get a chance to put it out, or I decided not to put it out. I may still wind up putting that one out, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. So a couple of weeks back, the head of the Department of Education came out and said there's not going to be any more pauses. Student loan payments are going to resume, something like 60 days after June 30th. First interest is going to start accruing, and then the first payments are going to be due. So I guess the first payments are going to be due sometime in early September. A lot of people have been arguing how big of an effect this is going to have on the economy. Is this going to be catastrophic to the economy, or is this not that big of a deal? There's, maybe 44 million student loan borrowers out there. I think on average, the average payment is $350, $400 a month, $440 a month, something like that. So I guess if you were to look at I don't have a calculator on me, but I guess if we take 44 million borrowers times $440 a month, I think that gives us something like $80 billion. So potentially that's $80 billion that are going to be sucked out of the economy every month because people are putting this money towards student loans as opposed to buying Grubhub or going to the movies or going to the bar or buying a new car or doing whatever else people do. This was a shocking stat to me. So on average, people who had their student loans paused wound up taking on an additional $1,800 in new debt. So the whole idea of this is we're going to, we realize this is a tough time. The Mexican beer cough's going on. Some people are out of job. Some people have had their hours cut. It's a tough time. We're going to pause student loan payments. I don't think anybody realized that was going to go on for 3 years. 3 years is an incredibly long time. And people quickly kind of get used to new situations, whether that's having more money, having less money. That's why a lot of times when you get your first job out of college, people say, or just your first job in general, put away 10%, put away 15%, put away 20% every paycheck. People are like, oh man, it's a lot of money. But it's like, look, the first couple weeks, it'll seem like a lot of money. But after that, 80% of your paycheck just kind of becomes the norm in terms of what you have, and you don't really wind up missing the rest. And it's kind of, one of the benefits to saving and investing is once you start doing it and you make it an automated regular thing, you don't necessarily notice the money missing. Well, I think the same holds true. And when you go 3 years without having to make a $300, $400, $500, $800 payment, you get used to that. And I think rather than continuing to pay on the student loans at a time when interest isn't continuing to accrue and really kind of hammering down on that principal, or even rather than putting that money aside in a high interest savings account where you're going to be earning 5% plus. I know a lot of people didn't want to pay down their student loans because they said, Biden made the promise he's going to forgive student loans, and I don't want to be the sucker who pays them off when I didn't have to pay them off. A smart person would have at the very least put that money in a high interest savings account, high yield savings account, and then should student loans not be forgiven, once interest starts accruing again, pay that down. Now, obviously, most people didn't do that. Most people went and bought a new truck, bought a house, bought a car, bought more Grubhub, took a vacation, bought some jewelry, did whatever else. But now people don't have that money. Student loan payments are going to be resuming at the end of summer. And not only are these student loan payments coming back, but now people also have an additional $1,800 in debt that they wound up taking on. A couple other interesting stats. 2/3 of people say they will have to change their shopping behavior or kind of budget better in order to afford their student loan payments coming back. And 3/4 of people said that they'll have to earn more income, whether that means taking on a new job, starting a side hustle, picking up more hours at work, whatever that may be. I'll tell you guys a little real estate story here really quickly. So near a family member of mine's house, this house wound up selling a couple doors down for $230,000, I think it was. They poured a new driveway, put on some siding, so at least they did more than some flippers, right? Some flippers will hang a picture on the wall, paint the walls gray, and call it a flip. They didn't do a ton of work to this house, but I mean, siding's not cheap. It's a smaller home, but I'm going to say maybe $7,000 for the siding. They poured a new concrete driveway. Concrete's expensive as shit right now, so that actually probably cost them a pretty penny. And then the inside, they did a little bit to kind of freshen it up. This house just recently got relisted for $484,000. It took 5 days. They had an open house the first day. Open house was packed. It took 5 days, but that house is now contingent. And what blows my mind about this, not only the fact that somebody's willing to pay $484,000 for this house. I mean, just to give you context in the Chicagoland area, a couple years previous, my parents sold essentially like a McMansion house in one of the nicest cities in Illinois for, I believe it was about $425,000. Obviously the market's gone up, times have changed, but here we are just a couple years later, and you have a house in a suburb that's not as nice, on a block that's not as nice. You got probably about 2,200 square feet less. It's not as new as a home. The yard isn't as big, and you're going to wind up paying, $50,000 more for this tiny, dated house that they did a cheap flip on, as opposed to maybe a 15-year-old, 3,300 square foot McMansion. I mean, it's just insane. But another thing that kind of surprised me is right down the road from this house that has an offer somewhere around $464. Who knows? Maybe it even went over asking. But there's a house on 0.46 of an acre. It's not as nice. It's an older home, but it's on 0.46 of an acre. New windows, floors have recently been redone. It's got new paint. Again, it's not an HGTV quality house, but it's got a workshop in the back, powered, big garage, halfway decent landscaping. This house was sitting on the market for weeks at $246,000. There's another house, and it looks like it's maybe like an estate sale type situation. I saw in some of the photos. In one of the photos, there's like an oxygen tank in a corner. It looks like the house hasn't been updated in 50 plus years. It's not in bad shape. It's livable. It's just dated. And it looks like maybe somebody passed away and their kids are trying to sell the home. But I think this house was going for $230,000. Again, on almost a half an acre. Almost the same exact home as this one that's listed for $264,000. And whoever bought this house for $230,000 and is selling it for $484,000, they maybe at best, I'm gonna say, put $30,000 into the house. So you could buy this house for $230,000, put $30,000 into the house, and you're in at $260,000, as opposed to going with a too cheap flip where somebody put $30,000 into the house and now wants an extra. What's that? 260, 360, 460. I mean, wants an extra $200,000. And the only thing that I can break this down to is, people are kind of maxed out. So, if somebody is fortunate to be able to buy a house, they don't have any cash to be able to rehab that house. Or people just don't want to take on the work. People can't see the vision of improving a house and spending 30 grand instead of 200 grand to get the house that you want. I'm not sure what it is. Yeah, this is anecdotal, but I've seen this across a number of different properties, a number of different markets. And if you don't need the new shiny house with the barn doors and the gray floors and the gray walls, I think there are still some deals out there for you. I'm not going to get into this too deep. We got a huge commercial real estate problem going on right now. A lot of commercial properties don't get 30-year mortgages. They typically get loans for a couple of years, and I think it's like 70-80% of the commercial properties out there are up for essentially loan renewals within the next 24 months. And right now, the prices that these commercial properties are going for don't justify. They aren't justified because you're not going to be able to make enough money off renting out these properties, and there's really not even enough demand to keep these properties. I'm not even going to get into that story just because it's too much to get into. I only got a couple minutes left here. Let's see. I had a bunch of stuff to talk about with ESG scores. We'll be really quick here. I thought this was kind of interesting. Legacy tobacco companies like British American Tobacco, Philip Morris, and Altria, they have lower ESG scores than Tesla. So Tesla's a company who's actually improving the environment, but because they're not on board with kind of all this woke stuff, all this pride stuff, everything else, there's actually tobacco companies who essentially make poison, make a product that kills people, make a product that essentially is a drain on money for poor people. They have a higher ESG score than Tesla because, they're on board with the pride stuff and all the other kind of nonsense. This is kind of interesting. Starbucks is actually under scrutiny. A lot of people are mad at Starbucks for removing pride decorations and not selling pride cups and mugs this year. That's kind of interesting. I think some of these companies are starting to see what happened to Target, what happened to Bud Light, what happened to a lot of these other companies, and they don't want to face the same fate. CNN had a piece that was pretty interesting a couple weeks back. I was going to make a video all about this as well, but CNN had a piece, the real reason why Target stock price is going down, and it was so silly. They basically compared Target to Foot Locker, and they said, well, Foot Locker's hurting, and so, it makes sense that Target's hurting as well. Well, Foot Locker is not only do they not sell necessities like Target, which sells groceries and, normal clothes and baby wipes and everything else, but Foot Locker is a dying brick and mortar mall retailer. And they're comparing that to Target, which is a big box store that sells groceries, right? Like they're not even in the same league, but they want to spin it as much as possible, right? Like the reason a lot of these businesses are losing money isn't because they went woke; it's because Foot Locker's hurting. We got a recent study out of the UK that found that alcohol and Ritalin don't improve performance. They will improve motivation, but not performance. They actually studied, I believe it was 2,000 people, gave a group a placebo, and then later gave them Ritalin or Adderall, and they actually showed a decline in performance. Let's see, we're going to be real quick here. The happiest jobs, 2,000 people were surveyed by the Open Study of College. They found that the 5 happiest or most fulfilling professions were 1, physical therapist, 2, firefighter, 3, teacher, 4, teaching assistant, and 5, quality assurance analyst. The last one kind of threw me off, but what do all these jobs have in common? Well, they're all jobs where I guess you're kind of interacting with people. You're actually helping people, right? Like, I don't know if you guys have ever read the book Bullshit Jobs by David Graeber. It's a great job. It's a great job. It's a great book. I'll link to it in the description box down below. Highly recommend checking out. It's a little bit dry, but if you're interested in that topic or that kind of aspect of society, I think you'll probably find it interesting. But, I remember my first job out of college. I worked for kind of like a marketing startup in the Loop in Chicago. And I would monitor ads. So if somebody's advertising on Cron.com or ChicagoTribune.com, whether it be the new Ford F-150 or the new Kung Fu Panda movie, whatever it may be, my job would be to, if they're paying for 3 million impressions over 6 months, my job was to make sure they don't blow out all those impressions in the first week and that they deliver them slowly, over time. Now, ultimately, at the end of the day, even if I did a really good job, what difference am I making in the world? An extra 500,000 people saw an ad for Kung Fu Panda or the new Chevy Silverado. But does that really matter in the world? Whereas if you're a physical therapist, you're working with a real person face to face, somebody who had a challenge in their life, somebody who has an injury, and you're helping them get back to living their life and feeling better, right? Like there's actually some meaning behind it. Firefighter, you're saving people's lives. You're helping people, during a traumatizing time in their life. Teacher, you're shaping the future of America. I'm not really sure how quality assurance analyst falls into this. I'm guessing they get paid pretty well. And I guess they're doing a service for society as well. But if you're already in a career, you're already in a career. But if you're thinking about making a career change, you're coming out of college or something like that, just look at the survey, read about this a little bit. And, maybe something where you're actually making a difference in people's lives will not only help other people, but make you happier as well. Couple other quick things. Right now, the premium to buy over rent in most markets is about $800 a month, or a 25% premium to own versus rent. There's only a handful of cities, maybe 4 to 6 cities, where this isn't the case. Two off the top of my head that come to mind are Cleveland and Detroit. But, in most cities, you're going to pay a hefty premium to buy over rent. It's actually cheaper to rent right now. Dallas has recently banned short-term rentals. And in the last story of the day, Rivian, the electric truck company, was delisted from the NASDAQ 100. So that's all I got for you guys today. I apologize I haven't seen you guys in a while. I'll try to be a little bit more active. I'll try to get some more content out there. Be sure to check out the sponsor of today's video in the description box below, Temu. Again, whether you're an affiliate, a reseller, hustler, or you're just looking for some good deals cheaper than Amazon, check it out. I'll also include a coupon code to get you 30% off your first purchase. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel, click that subscribe button down below and ring the bell. That's all I got, guys, and I'll catch you on the next video, guys. Later. Peace.